What? Okay, wait, here we start.
So, Lori, just so you know, I did just start recording our Zoom session. Did I lose you?
Got it. Fat finger syndrome. Sorry about that. Can you see me now?
Nope. There should be a camera icon that says
Yeah,
that has an X through it, and you have to press that X.
yeah. Let's see here. Oh, I wonder. There we go. Okay, I just got it up here. So here we go. Start.
Fine.
I'm going to bring this a little closer this way.
All right. Thank you, Lori, for joining us on this amazing challenge. And you are here to kick things off by teaching us a little bit about Pampered Chef, which
Yes.
are, well, I'll let you talk about the products themselves, but I just want to share with everybody that the goal here is Lori has been a consultant for how long?
Oh my gosh, I think it's been about 15 years now.
15 years. And in 15 years, how many shows, cooking shows, demonstrations
Oh,
would you?
probably at least 2,000, if not even more.
1,000?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
even wrap my brain around that. And Lori, of those, 2,000, 15 years, that must mean that you're a pretty good cook, or that you can inspire other people to try new things and be creative in their kitchens. Would you agree with that?
I definitely would. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. I'm always experimenting and trying new things and helping people make their lives easier in the kitchen.
Easier in the kitchen. I love that.
Yeah,
That is, we need more easy in the kitchen for sure. Awesome.
totally. Yeah. Thank you so
So
much for having me, Fiona. I'm really excited about this. Um, in so many different levels. I'm very excited about it. And even putting together the ingredients today, and just I'm hoping that I can bring a lot of knowledge to the table. I know you have a ton, and I'm excited for learning with you. And I hope that I can help you as well.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. That's I'm excited too to see. Are you planning on staying with the challenge till the end? Like
I
the whole 30
definitely
days?
am. I definitely am. Yes. Yeah, it's time for things to change things up. And, even just talking to you for the last couple of days is realizing what I had done before and what I've changed and what I've forgotten. And I apologize. Patrick's barking. Somebody's walking down the street and he thinks he owns it probably. But I'm super
I'm
duper
laughing on my
excited.
end right now. There's a garbage truck going by. My child just came home. The place was quiet. You could hear a
Right?
pin drop.
I knock at the door and I was like, I want to put a big sign on my door saying, please be quiet.
Yeah,
Recording happening.
recording in progress. Yeah, we need that
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly. Yes, yes. So thank you so much for having me today and for letting me to start this off. And I went to the grocery store and I picked up some items because I didn't have them in the house. And I'm excited to share. I want to start with our deluxe cooking blender. And the reason I want to start with this is because it does so many different things, and there's so many ways that you can incorporate having a healthy lifestyle and making things easier in the kitchen by just using a blender and not having to, mess up a whole lot of other items. So I thought because our blender does soups, like it legit makes soups. So as I was cutting up the cauliflower today, I know that you can just put cauliflower in the blender, and you can make a cauliflower soup. And you literally put it in there, it heats it up, it cooks it because it has a temperature, and it also it takes about half an hour, and
Can
then
you
it's
adjust
done.
the temperature? So can you adjust the temperature that it's cooking at?
No, because it's got a soup temperature, it's right to it. So what it does is it brings it up to temperature, brings it to a boil, brings it back down, and cooks it because it's all set on the soup setting. There's
Like
a
a
jam.
professional chef. Yeah, no more needing professional chefs because you've got the
You don't need
blend.
it. You don't need it. There's a jam setting. So for people that like to make homemade jams, whether you've got rhubarb or whatever, there is a jam setting. Now I don't know how that sugar goes with what you're going to be teaching us. But I'm gonna just give me 1 minute. Hey.
Okay, so so store-bought sugar, guys, or store-bought jam should be called store-bought sugar because there's so much of it in there. And doesn't fruit and berries just taste delicious without the sugar? Like, I mean, what is better than going on a farm and picking a fresh berry and putting it in your mouth right there? Like, it doesn't get any better, right? Like that is the epitome of a fantastic life, is eating those berries. So if you want jam at home, and what you can do is just use your blender and puree them, and then add some chia seeds. So the chia seeds will naturally thicken it up. And chia seeds are also super incredible for our micro gut biome. And yeah, if you wanted, you could put a couple dates in when you're blending up your berries to sweeten it up. So the reason why dates would be a better choice than sugar is because dates have fiber in them. So we need that fiber. Every excuse that we can get to eat more fiber, we need to use. So you're going to put your berries and maybe your dates in the blender. You're going to put a little bit of chia seeds, and that's it. That's all. And you're going to have a fantastic jam.
That is amazing. And we have a puree button on the blender as well. So would that be something that you would use because it would puree it? Yeah. That is something I definitely want to give a try. And I love dates and, like you said, chia seeds.
So good.
Fabulous.
And really good for our body.
Yeah. I am so interested in exactly, like, when we were chatting the other night, and yeah, we talked about, like, what's your favorite food? I'm like, I love tacos, right? And that's a go-to thing for me. And so then we were like going to change it up healthy, and we looked at it, I was like, okay, well, what about shrimp? And you're like, okay, well, what about cauliflower? I'm like, okay. So I printed up a recipe that I had just gotten just to get the ingredients for a cauliflower tacos. And I ran to the A&P or Metro on my lunch, or yeah, just this morning. And the lady was like, oh, what are you going to make? So I was in such a rush. I just handed her the recipe, and she looked at it and she goes, oh, these sound wonderful. She said, let me know how they turn out. I'm like, I will. So, everybody's always looking to try new things, and it isn't until you start talking about it, because we're so narrow-minded to what we think is good. And then when you're able to share it, it was phenomenal. So
I love how you said that. We're so narrow-minded to what is good. We are, like, we know what's good, and we like to stick with that, right?
Yeah. So I'm super excited to try this. So in the blender here, where I'm going to be making this soup, I picked out a tomato basil soup. And it's one that I first learned when I got this blender, and I thought, oh, it's super duper cool. And you legit just add your ingredients right into the blender, and press the soup dial button and let it go. And in about 30-35 minutes, it's cooked and it's done. It smells delicious, and it's really good if you're somebody that's always on the go, or you just don't have a lot of time. And the other thing with the blender is, when you're done with it, it washes itself. It has a heated wash cycle, so you just put water into it, and then you put a little dabble of soap on it, put on the heated wash cycle, walk away, and it will wash the inside of your blender. Like sterilize.
Amazing.
Sterilize it. Yeah. So the other thing that I was thinking too, because when I went and I read the recipe for it, is that it called for vegetable stock, right? And one of the things that I used to do, and I've gotten away from doing, was taking my vegetables. So whether I cut up like onion tops, or carrots, or anything like that, is sticking them. And I had a baggie in the freezer Or if you're doing a lot of it, just, putting your stuff in a bowl. And then I would use our pressure cooker. You could use a slow cooker, and I would make a soup stock out of it.
That sounds incredible.
So instead of wasting it.
So today, Lori,
Yes.
are we using a store-bought vegetable stock, or are we using?
That's what I grabbed, was a store-bought vegetable stock.
And can you read? Because guys, believe it or not, sometimes sugar is added to these stocks. Can you believe that? Like, why would we need sugar in a vegetable stock? I'll tell you why. Because it sells. So that's why.
So I did take a look at it, and I'll be honest, I've never actually bought vegetable stock before. But it said in here, the sugars is 1 gram, and that's per cup. However, in the ingredients, it was where's my ingredients here? It is, oh, there we go, on this side. That's French. Water, salt, concentrated tomato paste, concentrated carrot juice, concentrated onion juice, yeast extract, and concentrated celery juice.
Okay, so this is the biggest lie that we all have to just admit is a lie and move on from, is that when those labels are there to help us, they're not. They're there to sell us on the fact that I don't know how to word it. Okay, so they are there to try to trick us and to confuse us and to just saying, forget it, I can't understand it, I'm gonna just eat what tastes good, right? Because right there's no added sugar, but the sugar in there is 1 gram, right? And
Yeah.
it's very, very convoluted, because you're supposed to, like us, me and you, women, 6 teaspoons of sugar, of added sugar a day maximum, right? So added sugar is totally different than naturally occurring sugars. And I don't want to keep you too long. That'll be described in a separate document. But isn't that confusing, Lori? Were you confused when you're like, it says 1 gram of sugar, but there's no sugar in the ingredients? What's happening?
Yep. I just thought to myself it was a natural sugar that maybe came from the carrots and the tomatoes.
Yes. Okay, well, you're smarter than me. I would be reading that going, where is it coming from?
Okay, that's what I thought. But again, I am nowhere smarter than you. And that's just what I thought of. I mean, a lot of us wouldn't even think, where does it come from? They would just be like, oh, okay, it's in there somewhere, right? That's where I thought it came from.
That's the exact right answer. But it actually took me several months of being on a sugar-free lifestyle before I really fully understood the answer to that question. So I just think we got to stop looking at that nutrition part of it and just look at the ingredients. Okay. So question for you: when you're making your tomatoes, if you weren't in a hurry, would you usually take off the skins and seeds?
No, actually I wouldn't. I would normally, so now this time around here, and at cooking shows, when I would do this demonstration, I would buy the can of tomatoes. But when I make it at home, I've been fortunate enough to just use fresh tomatoes in there, but it makes it extremely tomatoey, extremely, more so than a can of tomatoes. So,
like in a good way or a bad way?
No, it's in a bad way. I'm not. It was just, it was like kind of like eating a spaghetti sauce, kind of like it was a lot of tomatoey. What I do though is to get rid of that, or to make flavor to it, is my friend had actually bought me a plant, like a hanging basket, for my birthday last year in the summertime, and she picked it up from one of the local stores, and it was a plant that has these chili peppers. So I use these because they're from the plant as for flavoring.
Okay, so these chili peppers are from the tomato plant.
No, sorry. No, sorry. No, they make them tomato tasty go away because they're hot.
Okay, so this is an excellent tip that you have for us, because sometimes people add sugar to make the tomato not taste so tomato. Right?
Yeah, no, I use the hot pepper, just a little bit of it, right? But just to give it. And the other thing I use which I know was not the thing is, but this is what I've done is I've got Italian hot Italian sausages,
Okay.
and I've cooked up the Italian sausage and then thrown it in. So it gives it just a different taste.
Okay, so
So
if
it's,
you were to use fennel seeds, which is the main spice used in sausages,
oh
then
yeah.
you and then you little maybe if you're into this, you'd add some nuts or some olive oil because there's also fat in sausages. So whenever
Yeah.
you're taking an ingredient away, you want to ask yourself, um, like, am I taking away sugar, salt, water, fat, um, sour, right? Like, what am I taking away by taking away this food, and how can I add it back in a way that's going to add nutrients?
I love that. And you're right, because it's the fennel, right? The fennel seed that is in the sausages that we like so much. And I love that taste. So I've never thought of like just replacing it with the fennel.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. And you can use, you don't even have to go with like a fennel seed. You go with a real fennel, real piece of
absolutely.
fennel, fresh.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Excellent idea.
That is awesome. That is so awesome. Now, with the can of tomatoes, do you want to talk about the label on it? Like, because you know what, we don't have to cook. Like, I don't have to show them about cooking because this is about our labels and about what we're adding.
Okay, okay. So, which part of the label?
Okay, so for the tomatoes, let's just look at the ingredients. So it's tomatoes, citric acid, calcium chloride.
Maybe those things are making it not taste so tomatoey.
Right?
Okay, so I do try to avoid using canned food because I really feel like I can taste the can. I don't know if
Okay.
that's in my head or if it's true. So that's just a personal preference. So when you are going sugar free, what I'm going to really encourage you to do is have a tremendous amount of food really at your disposal. So canned goods might be a really good option for you while you're starting to transition over, but just be aware that they are preserved in salt usually. And salt actually makes us feel more hungry and makes food taste more palatable to the point where we want to eat more. So whenever you're eating, if you aren't satiated by the food, but instead you're triggered to eat more food, it's probably not um, it's probably not something that your body requires, right?
Okay.
So even if a potato happens to be good for you and you cut it up and you deep fry it and you cover it with salt, I mean, raise your hand, maybe you've had a potato chip. And I think we can all agree there is no nutrients in a potato chip, right?
Right.
I've totally lost my train of thought here.
It's you were talking about like how our bodies we crave more, right? So like it's like when you were started talking about it, I'm thinking about like a sugar craving, right? Like you go have a cookie and then you come up high and then you crash, right? And then you want another cookie, and then before you know it, you eat the whole freaking box of cookies. And it wasn't because you were hungry, it's because your body's asking for something that it really didn't need, but you're feeding it to it.
Yes, yes. So salt, for sure, like is amazing at getting your body to eat more of food, right? I challenge you, like a lot of people like tacos because they're so salty, right?
Right.
Um, and so if you took the salt out of the taco and instead you used like your cilantro and your lime and those two and the garlic all together, is just like so delicious, right? And just take the salt out. And what will
Yeah.
happen is you'll go from wanting to eat a bag of chips with salsa to like being satiated, completely and totally satiated after only a handful. So if you want to stop eating so many calories,
Mhm.
just stop using the salt. And if you need for your life to eat more energy, then add a little bit of salt, I would say.
Or fiber, like you said, like the chia seeds or the dates and stuff like that. Would that
Yeah.
help you stop eating as much?
Well, okay, for several reasons.
Okay.
So first of all, um, when you eat fiber, it actually starts before your digestion starts before you even put it in your mouth. So your brain is getting some signals from the smell of the food, right? And then you put it in your mouth and your saliva starts to activate, and your teeth, super important in the digestive process. So you're taking that food and you should be chewing it to the point where it's actually liquefied so that it digests more easily. And I know we all know this, right? We all know, take smaller bites, focus on what you're eating, chew until it's a liquid, right? But we do easily get sidetracked and don't do that. But the thing about something full of fiber is you can't really get too sidetracked doing that. You have to chew, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So then it gets into your belly. And have you ever thought, oh, my belly is full? What's actually full is your intestines, because that's where your stretch receptors are. So
Okay.
the fiber gets into your intestines, and then it needs to be digested by your microbiome. So we think that we're getting a real nice high from eating sugar, right? But we're getting an actual, real, sustainable, healthy high when our microbiome eat the fiber that we feed them. And it's actually in their digestion process that releases the dopamine that makes us feel good. So eat a cookie right away, you feel good, right? Because that dopamine is through the roof.
Yes.
But if you eat healthy, you actually have a more sustained level of dopamine and you'll feel good.
Wonderful. Love it. Thank you.
So just to caution you though, that if you are not a huge fruits and vegetable, oh good, the garbage man's right here, right in front of my house, isn't how to speak.
I can't hear him. That's what happened here. The lawn guy, he's next door, and then that's why Patrick was barking at somebody outside in the backyard, right? Good dog, but wrong time.
Good dog, wrong time. Love it. Okay. I could talk forever about fiber. Let's move on to the next ingredient.
Okay, so the other ones I had here were some like Roma tomatoes.
Okay.
Now you had asked, do you take the skins off and the seeds out? So can we go back to that question and why you asked it?
So yeah, the skin and the seeds don't break down, right? And so they become very unpalatable.
Okay.
Not, yeah.
Okay. Even if they're pureed?
Well, as far as I know, you can't actually puree them, but maybe your machine does it.
Okay, well, I'm not going to waste anybody's time watching me put all of these ingredients into the blender and do it. What I will do is later I will do it, and then I will come back on into the show or into your Facebook group, and I will show the results and what it is and whatnot. Maybe I'll do a live too, right? And I can show it at that time. Does that sound good?
Very good. Yes.
Okay, because I find that this is extremely informative about the ingredients that we think are very healthy and very knowledgeable about how we can change it up. So.
Good. Excellent.
Awesome. Awesome. So, yeah, and I got some onion here and some fresh garlic, which I have on the other side here, and then fresh basil.
So when you're doing your garlic or your onion, and you're doing it in your blender there.
Yep.
And you're pureeing it. So you don't really have to make the pieces too small, or if I leave them too big, will they get caught under the blades?
No, they won't get, they're fine. It comes with two tools. So one here is, oh my gosh, I can't remember, the name is escaping me, but if it does get caught and it stops, which it won't because of the way that it works, but if it does, you can actually put it in here. It doesn't hit the blades, but it will move your food around.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know why that name has eluded me as well. 10 minutes ago,
I know, right?
Tamper. It's a tamper.
Yeah. The other trick is that you put your liquids in first.
Excellent
before you put it in. And I'll go and I'll do a video in the group, and I'll put this together here. The other thing that comes is a cleaning tool. So this is perfect for when you use your blender and you need to say anything is on the sides, you can scrape it out so that you're not wasting any food.
You know, another tip that I like to do is if I'm making something like this, I make it a little bit too thick and then pour it into a separate container. And then I put some water in the blender or food
Yeah.
processor and whirl it, and that'll clean it for me. And then I put that liquid in with the too thick
And then
soup
you can,
and
yes,
just
yeah, and use it that way. Yeah. So this blender here is it grinds. So if you needed to cornmeal, you could put popcorn seeds in here and you could grind it to cornmeal.
Wow.
You could put, if you were having coffee and you needed coffee beans, you could put your coffee beans in here and grind your coffee beans.
Okay, and so somebody could grind flaxseed fresh.
Yes, you can. And also, yes, you can. And I don't know if you use this, but oats.
Yeah, you can make your own oat flour then.
Oat flour. Yep, I've done oat flour. Almonds. So you can also, it has an alternative milk setting that you can put your almonds in there or your cashews and put it on alternative milk. And then you get a bag that comes with it. And then you strain it and you have your own milk.
The milk bag comes as part of the.
It comes with the blender. Yep. I just didn't pull mine out because I didn't think about that. But there is an alternative.
If you're making jam then too, then you could use that strainer to make a smooth jam instead of one that has the seeds.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's the puree setting. It's a heated puree setting. So it's not just a regular blender puree setting. It's a heated puree setting. Yeah, it does a lot. You can make baby food with it as well if you know anybody that's had a baby and is going to be making their own baby food.
Okay. Now, Lori, we have about 5 minutes left on the Zoom.
Oh my gosh, we went through quick. Okay, let's turn around and let's look at the cauliflower that we're roasting. How's that? Okay, I'm just gonna move you around. Now, I don't have any fancy dancy equipment hanging out here, so let me see. Let me go back here. There we are. Maybe not my manual food processor. So here I had cut up cauliflower here, and I cut up a whole bunch of cauliflower. And this is what gave me the idea is like, oh my gosh, I can make a cauliflower soup very easily. And then in here, I started roasting.
So this is your air fryer.
This is the air fryer. So this here has actually a roast setting. And I believe you have the air fryer.
I have one that my son bought me, but it's not Pampered Chef.
Okay. So, and that's totally good. I know you roast a lot of vegetables.
I just have to say, guys, get rid of your stove, get rid of your microwave, get rid of everything else in your kitchen. You just need an air fryer. Like it is amazing.
Oh my gosh. Are you not kidding? So it's so funny because you asked me that question yesterday. What is the one thing that you bought that you don't need? And I'm like, the oven. The only thing I cook in it is a turkey at Christmas time. I don't use it. I use the air fryer for absolutely everything. Like everything. So that's why I'm like, do you really want me to answer this? Obviously. Yeah. So the settings on this isn't just like the air fry, but the roast. So you can roast your vegetables, like any vegetable you need or want. It has a bake setting, it has a rotisserie setting, reheat setting, and a dehydrate setting, which I think is amazing too. I had somebody posted that they were doing dehydrated dragon fruit.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
So, but I mean, you can do bananas or anything you can that has the dehydrate setting.
I only pretty much use the dehydrate function on mine now. So if you freeze vegetables and then thaw them out, what you've done is you've expanded the water molecule and then contracted it again. And so it softens up your vegetable and then you put it to, oh, I'm getting a notification that we only have 10 minutes left. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Put it in your,
Is it still going?
I think it's still going, but it wants me to pay. Make a pay phone right now.
No way, Jose.
Yeah, if you put your frozen vegetables right into your air fryer, hit the dehydrate, it's going to bring it to the exact right temperature. It's not going to be too hot. It's that really satiating or a soothing comfort, a soothing level of temperature. Yeah, it's wonderful. And it only takes a couple minutes, believe it or not.
Wow, wow. For the dehydrate?
Just to bring it up to so that it's a nice warm.
Oh, okay, I understand. So you're not doing a whole dehydrate system because that takes a long time, but just to bring it back up. I'm following now.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Awesome. Yeah. So I know that we only have a few more minutes and I don't want them to let you pay. Avocado for like creme fraiche kind of thing. So avocado with lime.
Yes.
Good.
Grueling.
No.
Oh, good for like our lifestyle?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Some people will say to be mindful that there's a lot of fat in avocado. I've never ever worried about fat content of food. And I've lost 35 pounds and never once have I been like, no, I can't have that. It's too much fat.
Right. Yeah.
But
I
other
think
people
the
say it's
fats that
wrong.
are in an avocado are very, very good and healthy fats for you. It's not like eating a hamburger or something like that, right? Those kind of
Yeah,
fats.
they have omega-3, which is healthy for our brain.
Honey.
Honey, so as sugar-free, you're not gonna have that this week. So
Right.
just leave it out.
Okay.
Just leave it out. If you had to, you could put a couple dates in instead. But I am confident that this recipe will absolutely not need any kind of sweetener at all.
Yeah.
Especially
Now,
anytime you use fresh herbs, anytime you use fresh herbs and a citrus, there's no need for sugar. It's going to be amazing.
Awesome. The one other thing too I found is I know that if you have green onions and you use green onions, that you could just put the bottoms in the fridge and then they will keep growing up, right? You'll keep getting green onions, or you can plant them in the ground. So when we talked about the tacos, and I said, well, it calls for corn tortillas, and you said, well, bring lettuce, right? They didn't have any iceberg lettuce at the store, but I did buy this Bibb lettuce, and on the bottom of it, it still has the roots.
Yes.
So I'm thinking a replant might work.
It might work.
I'm gonna give it a
I've
try.
tried it. I've tried it. It goes really soggy before it grows, but
Okay.
it's terrible growing things.
Well, I'm gonna give it a try. So I'll keep you notified. Yeah.
Okay. So Lori, how about because we have to end this?
Yep.
How about you tell everybody how they can reach you, or should I put a link? Should we put a link in the group of how they can
You
reach
know
you?
what? I'll go into the group and I'll do a summary of what we did today, and hopefully a lot more people will come in and take a look at this because there's a lot of really good information. I'll do a quick live, a little recap, and I'll post some things as well.
Okay, that'd be amazing.
Sound good?
Thank you. I know you had to put a lot of work into this Zoom meeting today. I really appreciate it, Lori. Yeah, your tools there are incredible. And I'm hoping that you share a link of how I can get that blender because I don't have it yet.
I will definitely show you a link, and this month is a perfect time for you to get that blender as soon as possible. So I will make sure that everybody has all that information. Thank you so much for bringing all your knowledge to the table today. I think it was just absolutely phenomenal. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. See you later. Bye.